Hi,
We are Marae and
I'm Roger.
we're from Brave Free Travel. Just right off the bat, if you don't know a lot about us, you can go ahead and follow us on Instagram. We are at Brave Free Travel on Instagram, and we post most of our content there. Lots of stories and daily interaction, but we're trying to have a bigger showing here on YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe. And we're gonna answer the most popular question we've ever had, which is how did we become full-time travelers or travel content creators? So let's start from the beginning.
Basically, we started working seasonally, and we just started to go to different places, Alaska, the Virgin Islands. We just started going everywhere, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, we love taking pictures." We were kind of in the industry, of video and film and all that stuff. And so then we just took the leap and just decided, let's just integrate everything that we know and apply it to all the places that we're going, that we're working at, but at the same time enjoying and making money. And that was a catalyst to, give us that bump and say, hey, let's just make a YouTube, make an Instagram, let's do something.
So at the beginning, we quit our corporate jobs because we realized that we were spending a lot of time working and not enough time vacationing, and we had this dream of like traveling at least 3 months out of the year. But it turned out that the jobs we were picking were seasonal jobs, so it allowed us to be, half a year in one place and half a year in the other place. We met in Alaska on like doing a seasonal job, and so the company invited us to the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
So ever since then, we're like, okay, well, we could do half a year here and half a year there, and that could be really great. But then we started getting into this flow of like, we would work half a year, save a ton of money, because when you do seasonal jobs, you basically are working long hours. So sometimes you work only like a regular day hour, but you're usually working in remote places where there's not a lot of entertainment of the nature, and you do work long hours sometimes, so you have an opportunity to save money. So we would basically work really hard for 5 months out of the year, do a season, either summer or winter season, save all of our money and start traveling. And what we noticed was that from 3 or 4 or 5 months of work, we could spend the rest of a year, sometimes as long as 7 months, just traveling. And we were like, whoa.
Yeah, we just, let's just save up as much as we can and just have the rest of the year off. And that was the best. That's been the most amazing thing. Like you said,
Yeah.
we were working at corporate jobs, and we were just like the 9 to 5, the grind, and we were just like, oh no, we don't like this.
Well, we found ourselves in
Yeah.
Alaska with like
Yeah.
both having really, really great jobs, and we were making a really good amount of money.
Yeah.
But then we just come home to this like fully furnished huge house, and we were
Yeah.
just like, what do you want to do? And we just wanted to go traveling, and we couldn't.
Yeah.
So when we started doing the seasonal jobs, at the beginning we didn't start with a goal other than to travel. So the seasonal job was to travel. But we soon realized that we would save enough money to be able to travel long term, to other destinations like Southeast Asia, Central South America, even Europe. So we started doing it that way, and we did a few years, I think 4 years, total,
Mhm.
of back to back, like just working a season and taking off an entire 6 months or so. And then we realized that we were doing basically all this great traveling, but we were not recording it properly. So like we both have a background in film. So we would take our cameras and do lots of recording and take lots of photos, but we weren't learning new skills about editing or how to take more photos, or we weren't doing anything with other videos. We have thousands and thousands of hours of videos that we just never did anything with.
Yeah, we have, like she said, we have a lot of content, but we weren't planning to do a full production of anything. So it's
Right.
very, very raw, very real, just like, the camera shaking everywhere. And
But then we started seeing people online like making a living out of this, and like I remember I kept saying like it would be so great if like we could just get paid to do what we love to do, and we would ask ourselves like, what do we love to do? And like we weren't sure what we wanted to do career wise because we had just left our corporate jobs, but we knew we loved traveling. So we were like, well, let's just get any job, make money, save our money, and go do what we love to do, which is traveling. And then slowly we started just like capturing more and learning more. And once I saw that people were doing this, we were like, well, we gotta try it too.
yeah, well, it honestly has been the best. I don't think I can explain that anymore. It's just the relief of like, just, I don't know. I just don't like corporate jobs. But I did love the lifestyle of just, like meeting new people, going to different places, getting in and out, not worrying about what's the day to day of the next day. It was just, these are restaurant jobs, and
Yeah.
you can find them all over the place, especially during different seasons.
So to clarify, you don't have to work at a restaurant.
No.
We chose restaurant because he had worked already as a server, so he
Yeah.
knew that you could make a lot of money. But there's lots of jobs you could do as a seasonal employee, and it depends, of course, where you go do it seasonally. So we both have American passports, so we did our seasons would be done in the United States. And like I said, because we knew that he had already been a server and he knew that you could make good money, we decided to do both of us to do that. But you could work at a hotel, front desk,
Yeah.
on a Lyft operator. I mean, you could do a million things, right? You can work at a shop, at a coffee shop, whatever. So, but we started doing that because we had also been to Alaska, and we knew that there was the seasons there are really, really, really busy, and the rest of the year is really slow. So we left Alaska. We wanted to go back there and continue working there. So we're like, well, how can we go back? When we first met, we were working at a jeweler store,
Mhm.
and that was really fun. But we were working 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and it just left us very little time to actually go out and explore.
Well, the good thing about Alaska is that late at night, it was still like the sun was out shining
Right,
at 12
right.
o'clock at night,
Yeah.
so at night. But, so we were able to do, things after work, but we were dead.
So today we're going to answer one of our most popular questions, which is how are we able to travel all the time? And the reason we're able to travel all the time is because a lot of the travel we do is either paid for or comped by hotels so that we can create content for them. We've been doing this for a while already, and at the beginning, obviously, it was not like that. But now that we have, X amount of following and a little bit of influence, we're able to leverage what we do in terms of content creation for stays and sometimes paid. So the way it works is we usually plan where we want to go, and then we reach out to hotels and see if they're interested in doing some sort of partnership.
Yeah, it's it takes a little bit of time to develop that and develop that connection with these hotels and whatnot. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Oh my goodness.
It's super fun. So the first time we got a partnership was we had just started doing this. We didn't have that many followers. Our YouTube was brand new.
Yeah.
I mean, our YouTube is still pretty much brand new.
Yeah.
But we basically reached out to a few companies, and it was not hotels. It was tour companies and restaurants and whatnot. And we're like, hey, we're going to come over and visit, and we create this type of content. So the way we did it is we linked, we messaged them, and we linked our Instagram, our YouTube. We basically sent them our portfolio, so a link to the kind of videos that we made. And we asked them if they'd be interested in collaborating.
Yeah, honestly, it was one of those things where if you're at a point where you can make a video, just make a video. Because we started making videos in Bali. That was the first video on YouTube with Brave Free Travel. And we just kept on making videos here and there. We didn't take it seriously until we were like, hey, we can do this. And that was about a year ago when we got our first partnership. And we were just like, all right, let's go forward with this. And we ended up partnering with so many places just in 1 year.
Yeah.
And thanks to the Instagram as well, which helped us. We have a little bit more of a following there. But man,
So if you don't follow us
Yeah.
on Instagram yet, we're over at Brave Free Travel on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just
you'll see about a lot more pictures. We love to take
Yeah.
photography. We'd like to, obviously with the baby, she's a riddle on there. So if you want to see the baby a little bit more, but definitely we started on Instagram. Now we're going on the YouTube thing because we can. So it's one of those things where you just have to build that momentum, and then just send out as many emails as possible to these places.
Yeah, so what happens is usually companies want to know what kind of content you create to see if it aligns. And the way that we made it a little easier is we would research hotels based on our interests. So for example, we're really into eco-consciousness and not recycling, but just being a little bit more aware of the environment. So we started looking for hotels that kind of had the same mentality. So we looked for eco-conscious hotels, green hotels, people with this kind of initiative. And then we love traveling to places that are a little bit more remote, not so much in the middle of a city. So we started there, and we started getting working with hotels on a either paid or free basis when we were in Africa. So we started with Mauritius, Mozambique, Lesotho, South Africa, and so on and so forth. But we started by reaching out to them and saying, hey, we create this type of content. It seems to me like my content would align really well with your content. Would you be interested in a partnership? And we were really surprised to see how many hotels, businesses actually, not just hotels, but businesses are willing to work with you. Maybe not so much paying you at the beginning if you don't have a strong following or your work is not like super, it's not great, but definitely they're willing to let you stay if they're not having like a busy night or something like that. Because if you think about it, for them, it's a very small investment with a potentially large outcome. So if a hotel is giving you a free room, they already have the room. And if they're not using the room, they might as well give it to you and have you potentially create content. So as long as you're consistent creating content, putting it out there and having some kind of response, some kind of engagement, you don't need a lot of following. You don't need 1 million people following you or anything like that, as long as you have people interacting with your content. So we have a new
addition over here
because she woke up.
It's so funny because she always like ends up in the video.
I know, like we start a video and she's not there, and then halfway through the video,
so
the baby appears,
and it's like, hey, it's like she knows that we're making a video, and she wants to join.
Anyway, so we just figured, like when we were working seasonally at the jewelry store, it was a great job. We made a lot of money, but we were working 12-hour days, and in Alaska, it's great because actually anywhere you go, it's great because everything's different. The climate is different. The seasons are different. The hikes are different. So we really enjoyed it, but we wanted to spend more time enjoying the places because our second season working at the jewelry store, we were so tired. We were barely doing any hiking or any socializing, and that kind of defeats the purpose of doing seasonal work. So that's how we kind of came about to do the whole serving thing. And honestly, it was one of the best decisions we ever made because we had so much fun.
It cut our hours in terms of time at work to like half. And
also time thinking about work outside of work.
Yeah.
Because when you're a server, you don't care. You just go in, you serve, you do a good job, and then you go home. That's it. Like, you don't have to, you never go home thinking, oh, I forgot to bring the bread to this person. Like, who cares, Yeah.
It's just a different change of things, But definitely when we did that restaurant change, it really gave us the opportunity to explore and work at the same time. And, we loved it.
One of the reasons we were so successful with it, though, is because we kept our eyes on the price. So a lot of times when you go do seasonal job at one of these destinations, you end up spending a lot of your money, actually, and a lot of your time, spending your money. Yeah. And we knew we wanted to save money to go traveling. That was it. So we were very, very adamant. Whatever money we made, we always saved. We would never go out binge drinking, or partying or anything that would involve a lot of money. We were very mindful on how we spent our money. I mean, we love nature anyway, so our most fun was always going to the beach or hiking and stuff like that. But that allowed us to discover a lot of beautiful natural places surrounding the area we were working at, and also allowed us to save the most amount of money, which then we used to continue traveling and discovering.
Yeah, we didn't. Stop our budget on food though. Food.
Yes, that was our one thing.
That was the one thing. Yeah, we ate out.
So the best jobs we found, seasonal jobs, were at.
It was
what
Alaska.
was the website? No,
it was Coolworks.
Coolworks.com. Yeah, coolworks.com. You can go and actually search by state, by season, by occupation. And we found, I think, most of our jobs through there. Yeah. We had a few that after a while, you end up meeting some of the seasonal workers and making friends, and they invite you to come and work where they work. And that's also a really good way to come in. But as a general rule of thumb, if you're a good employee that does their job right and coming on time, showing up sober and on time, you're going to win a lot of respect in these seasonal works. And then what happens is you end up being given good shifts and perks and treated really, really nicely. And we had a really good time doing seasonal work.
Yeah, if you go in there with a business mentality, as in you're going to make money, and that's what you're focused on, because, these companies want you to make money. And if you go in there kind of nonchalant, they're not going to give you the best. And so you got to go in there knowing what you want and just bring that energy.
Another positive aspect of doing seasonal work is that traveling in the off seasons is generally cheaper. So because we would be working, let's say from May to September, we would travel October, November, which is a lot cheaper than in the summertime or in the winter months. And then if we wanted to, we could still take We could still take like October, November off and then still do a winter season, which we end up doing in Montana and the Keys, I think.
Yeah, that's another good point. That we went to Europe on basically the best time, the cheapest part time.
Not just cheapest, less people.
Less
a lot of
people,
times when you travel in the like the shoulder months, you get the experience you want, the weather you want, without the crowds. Because in Europe, at the end of September, beginning of October, it's still very much nice weather, you know. But you don't have the billions of people that you have during summer months. So that's also a big difference that we got to enjoy because of that. And it gave us the opportunity of meeting a lot of people that travel in different ways, which is how we fell in love with, let's say, traveling by boat. And that's how we started with our own sailboat, and also by RV or, bus and stuff like that. So.
And that's a very interesting point. That time in between the summer season ending and the winter season, there aren't too many jobs out there that, have that 2 months off before you get to your next job. So like you said, we can stop our job during the summer season and then have 2 months off and then go back during winter season. And that 2 months, we did so much. We just, packed our bags. We knew what we were going to do, and we're just, let's go.
Another great idea is to join Facebook groups of whatever destination you're aiming to go to. For example, let's say you want to go work at, I don't know, Yellowstone. There's a Yellowstone group for employees that work in that area. And that's a really good way to find people, like to find housing and make friends and find opportunities, second jobs if you're looking for that sort of stuff, and even reviews about the place you're planning on working at.
What's cool about a lot of these jobs is that they provide housing, or they provide some type of situation where you can be there and work. Look who we have here.
Hi.
Welcome.
Our little adventure. And yeah, that's another thing. Because you're staying on a seasonal job, a lot of times you get free housing or very discounted housing by the company. So let's say you're working in some remote town in Alaska. They're obviously not expecting you to cover your cost of living or find a housing there that's going to be a 12-month contract for a seasonal job. So the company provides the job, and a lot of times in Alaska, they even reimburse your travel, which is super sweet.
Yeah.
And so you're basically taken there for free. You live minimally. I think the most we ever paid was $600 a month.
Yeah, and that was
so $300 each or so. And that was a really nice situation as well.
Yeah. And there's another key to it. Basically, if you go as a couple, you get your own place, and you get your own situation. If you go by yourself, you usually have to, room with a bunch of other people.
Dorm rooms,
and that's cool too. It's fun.
But obviously, if you're in a relationship, you don't want to be sleeping in separate rooms, right? So that's the perk. If you're single, you get to sleep in dorm rooms and make a lot of friends and have a lot of fun and go to all the parties and do all that fun stuff. If you're a couple, oftentimes they'll accommodate you. Yeah. The kicker is it's a little bit more challenging when you have pets. Yeah. We did manage to find housing with pets almost every single time, but it can be challenging. We had to do one season without our dogs. But I mean, it's doable. And a lot of seasonal jobs allow you to come and bring in your RV, since a lot of them are happening in national parks or really remote areas. So you can bring your RV or your little bus or whatever and live there. We never did that. We never got to do that. But we did take an RV camping for 5 months around Mexico, so I guess that was the offset. So if you're from a foreign country and you would like to work, you don't have to be from the United States. It is a little bit more difficult, and I don't have any absolute information on it, but I do know that every single job we've done seasonally has had employees on a J1 visa from other countries. So, and a lot of them also applied from CoolWorks. So that's a good point of reference I can give you if you're from another country and you don't have papers, visa to work in the United States. But yeah, basically any seasonal job is a good idea as long as you're good with your finances and don't spend all of your money, which is hard because sometimes when you're in a seasonal job, there's all these excursions and things, and it's a lot of fun.
Equipment
or
anything
fun.
Like that.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because you kind of get into what's going on around in that area. There's a lot of hiking, a lot of snowboarding, a lot of fishing, river rafting. There's a lot of different elements that these places provide because they're trying to attract people that are going on vacation. So you can experience that stuff for free.
Because a lot of times when you're a seasonal worker, first of all, you make friends with people that work all those other jobs, but also a lot of times these companies will give discounts to companies in the area. So like, let's say you work at a local restaurant, you know, like a tour company may give all the employees of the restaurant a whole month, like, I don't know, discount or free rides on their tours or whatever. So it's really fun.
Yeah, it pays literally to make some friends there, and you know that they'll help you out with those type of things. But also, you get the local discount, and that's one thing that you know that's, for example, in places like Skagway where you're there, it's only literally open for about 6 months, and then the season and then winter comes. So technically, the people that are there for that long are considered locals.
Right.
And so you get the local discount as well. So a lot of different perks to different places when you get there.
And we have heard some really bad stories about seasonal work, but to be honest, we have had nothing but great experiences. And
Nothing but great.
again, our biggest tip, which is the tip he gave me, is go in, do your work, get out, don't get convoluted. Because a lot of times, you know, there's a lot of drama. Sometimes seasonal jobs call individuals that are just kind of running away from everything, and sometimes like drama can happen. But if you stay with your eyes on the prize and use your free time to discover the natural beauty around the place, or even just to spend your money, you know, going around shopping, whatever you want to do, right? You're guaranteed to have a really, really great time, and it's a really good way to save money, make some friends, travel as you're making money, and overall just have a good experience. And that is definitely how we started and that's what we did until 2018 when we decided to go remote.
So now we're fully just remote online. We're not doing any seasonal jobs, although some of those places are very attractive to go because we're like, oh, maybe we could stay in Yellowstone and we could take the baby and we'll have our own RV and then we could do work and then we could do everything. But
so what do you think? Should we make a video and tell you how to become a remote worker entirely, a full-time digital nomad? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to go follow us on Instagram at Brave Free Travel.